Wanted to go live tonight real quick and have this quick conversation about something that um, we all know about, we all talk about, we all hear about it, especially here on YouTube. And it's the topic of resellers. Um, this is not a new topic. It's something that it's been beaten to death at this point. We know resellers are out there, but something recently happened on my channel. I got a comment and then I saw a video that made me want to make a video about this really quick. I wanted to make a video, but I was like, I'm going to go live and talk about it. What's going on, Neon? How you doing, man? So the first thing is a comment that I got. So I got a comment on one of my recent pickup videos, basically saying that I am a scumbag reseller. So we're going to talk about that. But then I saw a video from Kyra. A lot of you may know this YouTuber. She's a young lady. Um, Her video came up on my feed today. She wasn't someone that I was following, but like one of her videos popped up on my feed. And when I saw it, I was like, you know what? Let me watch this video. What's going on, Girl Bound? How you doing? Adrian, what's going on? So let's first deal with the comment that I got on my channel. So a lot of you know that I recently picked up a N64, a huge lot of games. In total, the whole lot probably came with maybe 60 plus games and about 3 consoles. And at the time that I made the offer for the games, I didn't know if the games, I wasn't even sure if the games were real, honestly. I made an offer for the initial part of the collection, which was the N64 games. And that was for 400. Then when I saw the consoles and the PlayStation 1 games, I decided to add on another 150 and I got the whole bundle for 550. So somebody commented under that video basically saying that I'm a scumbag reseller because I don't know, I guess because according to them I got a bunch of games that I'm not interested in. And under that comment I said, well, I could be using some of these games as trade for some of the games that I actually do want. And they were like, yeah, well, that's not the Y2K we know. The Y2K back on the East Coast never would have done that. And I was like, I was confused because I was like, first of all, on the East Coast, I never even had an opportunity like that. Like, opportunities like that don't just pop up every day unless you're a reseller, right? Like, if you're a reseller, like a Phoenix Resell or a Chase, yeah, people are constantly selling you their collection for pennies on the dollar because that's your business. That's not my business. So as a collector, if I run into a deal like that, that's like a once in a lifetime or once in a every 2 year type of deal. And for those of you who collect, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so, I pretty much told them, I kind of communicated to them like, hey, listen, first of all, the people who sold me those games, they weren't the owners of those games, right? Like, they were not the people who owned those games. The actual owners of those games were going to throw those games in the trash. Like, that's what the people who sold them to me said. The people who sold them to me, for lack of better terms, seriously looked like they just wanted a fast dollar. Like, they were looking for the fastest dollar they could get for those games, right? Like, and if if you can read between the lines of what I'm saying, they were just looking to get these games out of their trunk and move on. And that being said, it didn't mean that they did not know the value of the games that they had. They knew the value of the games that they had. They just wanted to get rid of them because they started telling me prices that they saw for some of the games in the box on eBay. So I knew that they knew how much they were worth and they were still willing to take my offer. Now, the grand total of that box, that whole lot, maybe $5,500. So yeah, I probably paid 10% of the value for that whole collection, right? But at the end of the day, they were adults. They were not the owners. They were middlemen. They knew what it was worth and they accepted my offer anyway. And that's it. the games that I picked up aren't going to be posted on eBay or Mercari. I'm not flipping them at some flea market. The bulk of them actually went into my collection, and the rest of them are going to, yes, they're going to be used as trade bait to get games that I actually want. But here's the thing. I think that some people, not everyone, I think some people are consuming too much of this like anti reseller content that they haven't been able to separate the actions from the person. You don't hate resellers. You hate people who lie. You hate people who steal. You hate people who take advantage of people. You probably hate people who are greedy. You really don't like those actions. But being a reseller doesn't default you to a person of that type of character, which leads me to Kyra's video. So Kyra came out with a video today where she was talking about resellers. She showed a clip of an estate sale, which I honestly thought was hilarious. And I'm gonna get to some of these comments, but I don't want to lose my train of thought. She showed a video of an estate sale, which I thought was hilarious because basically it was people fighting over all this stuff at this estate sale. And she was demonstrating the behaviors of scumbag resellers. But at the end of the video, she then went to a reseller page, a reseller channel that is actually a good example of a reseller. Someone who does good business, who supports the community, who has passion for the games, who helps and gives back and so on and so forth. And she really highlighted the characteristics of someone who's a reseller who is doing it the right way. And I think that you have some people who kind of have like this misguided sense of like video game purchasing justice. Like there's some like rule on how much you should or shouldn't pay and this, that, and the third. And honestly, there's a lot of nuance to this hobby. Every transaction is different. No seller and no buyer is the same. Every situation is unique. And you have to apply your moral compass, not only to buying video games, but to buying anything, buying a car, buying a house, doing anything. You have to apply your own moral compass. But I think there's like this group of people who have reached this level of hatred for resellers that they don't know how to separate the action of being a scumbag versus the actions of just being a regular reseller. And scumbags are more than resellers. Scumbags are fathers, scumbags are daughters, scumbags are, you know, you gotta be a scumbag trash man. You could be a scumbag lawyer. You could be a scumbag doctor. You could be a scumbag landlord. There's so many things that you could do that classifies you as a scumbag out of being a reseller. But I can tell you this, if a person is a scumbag reseller, they're probably just a scumbag, right? Like, period. They're just a scumbag. They're just somebody who's just not a good person. And even if they are, that doesn't mean that you hate them. You hate the actions. You don't hate them. But I think this like anti-reseller, let's hate reseller cultures has some people just going crazy, bro. Like you gotta lay off the YouTube, go outside and like really engage with people and you'll learn to see the difference, right? Like gotta get off YouTube. You know what I mean? And I know I'm like a hypocrite because I'm doing a YouTube live, right? So I'm like, it's like, dude, you're telling people to get off YouTube, but you're doing a live. But I'm making this video because between that comment and watching Kyra's video, it kind of shows me that there's like this gap in people's I guess people's understanding of the difference between the person and the action. And regardless of what you say, we need resellers. You need resellers in this community, in this hobby. You need resellers because resellers are what tip the scale and take the power out of the hands of the big institutions like GameStop and Best Buy and so on and so forth, right? You kind of need resellers. Like, can you imagine what would happen if the only places you could buy video games were in big box retail stores? It'd be over. they'd set the prices. You wouldn't be able to do anything, right? So thank God that there's people that are willing to put in the work to find these games and sometimes sell them at reasonable prices so that more people can enjoy the hobby. Let me catch up on some of these comments here. Um, let me see, bro. No way, haters. I'm doing well. Those comments are from weirdos. Yeah, I agree. Strange, Ed and Eddie. Yeah, this Ed and Eddie game is. I've had my eye on and Eddie for a while. I really want to get it on the DS for a long time. I couldn't get it, and then I wanted it on PS2. I was at Game today, and they had it there, so I went ahead and picked it up. Um, Neon says, "What the." Adrian, awesome, good for you. 10% for 5,500 for a 5,500 lot is kind of gross. No offense. Well, hey, I didn't know it was 5,500 at the time. I'm not sitting there doing the math in my head. This is a box. These are boxes of things. And yeah, did I see like 007 and a few good games? Yeah, but I also saw a lot of shovelware. I saw a lot of like $2 games. There was like a lot of like Wheel of Fortune and like Jeopardy and like Centipede. There were plenty of $5 games. So when you're moving fast and you don't know exactly what you're looking at and you don't have the time to sit there and pick through each and every game and price it out, you got to you got to shoot an offer and that hedges yourself against taking a major loss. It's just a smart thing to do. In my opinion, I don't run into deals like that, right? Like I'm not a professional reseller. So if I see a bunch of games, I don't know exactly what I'm looking at and I don't know the dollar amount of everything I'm looking at. I'm not going to offer what do you want me to do? Offer somebody $4,000 for games that I don't know what's in there and then I go home and it's just a bunch of not only games that I don't play, but games that I can't even trade to get something better. I mean, I think personally, I don't know. To me, if you think it's gross, that's your opinion. I'm not gonna chastise you for having an opinion. But me, I just think it's smart. When you're in the heat of the moment and you're making a split decision and you gotta move because you're literally doing this during a lunch break, yeah, you're gonna err on the side of caution and hedge yourself and say, well, you know what? I'm gonna make an offer that I think is as fair as can be given the circumstances. Not to mention those consoles, when I got them, they were all looking like they didn't work. They were all dusty, super dusty. It wasn't until I removed the expansion pack cover that I realized, okay, a lot of the dust is superficial. But for all I know, all those consoles probably didn't work. The only thing that I knew that I had for sure were the N64 games. But again, that's just me. I see nothing wrong. They knew about the prices and accepted your offer. Exactly. They knew the prices. They knew what the games were worth. It's not like I went up to them and lied and said, hey, this sealed copy of Banjo Kazooie is only worth $20. Like, no. They knew. They were the ones telling me that Banjo Kazooie is worth like $1,100. The guy was the one who told me that he saw a graded sealed copy of 007 for $7,500. They knew what the heck they were doing. They weren't hoodwinked. They just wanted it gone. Um, Now I said, wait, what's going on? Six in one hand, half a dozen in the other. 10% for 5,500 is way low. I get it, but I'm not into it. Hey, to each his own, man. Listen, if you are in the habit or if it helps you sleep at night to give people more money than they're asking for, when they fully know how much they should be getting, if that helps you feel better as a person, as a human being, then go ahead and do that, man. I'm not judging you. I'm not going to stop you from doing that. You do you. However, I don't think on the flip side that you should chastise someone else on the flip side who's doing a deal in good faith. And I think that's really those are the hairs that we're splitting. Did you negotiate in good faith? If you negotiated with someone in good faith, where all knowledge was presented to the table at the time of purchase, where everyone had a clear understanding of what was being exchanged, how much it was worth, and what each party was willing to give and accept for it. If you're negotiating in good faith and a deal is done, I'm going to sleep like a baby, right? Because I didn't hoodwink anyone. And I you if even if you watch I couldn't even capture the whole transaction a lot. I couldn't even record it all because again, I'm moving fast. I'm in between meetings. I'm on the go. And I just see this and I'm like, all right, I have literally 7 minutes to go to the bank, get the cash, get all these games, put in my car, and get back to work. Like, so I don't have the time to sit there and like, not everybody is living the YouTube life of like walking around with a GoPro strapped to their chest and like sorting through games. Like, that's not real life. And YouTube, I think, kind of messes it up for people. People like they you don't realize that like a lot of there are so many amazing video game deals that go down that are not recorded. They're not captured on YouTube. You don't know that they happen because the majority of those people don't even want to be seen. And I know because I deal with them. I've dealt with some of them. They're like, bro, don't even record this. I don't even want it on Instagram, on YouTube. Steve O Supremo said, that reminds me of that infamous Creasy video at the estate sale. Everyone there for the games, and the first guy in line bought it all. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of crazy. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Exactly. I don't know, dude. I feel like you're splitting hairs. Yeah, splitting hairs. Tomato, tomato. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. But like I said, splitting hairs, not splitting hairs. At the end of the day, you got to do what helps you sleep at night, right? So if you're going to navigate, and this goes beyond video games, right? This is just life. You have to navigate life according to your morals and your principles. As long as you are not lying to someone, cheating someone, committing a crime, harming someone, if you are operating and negotiating in good faith and in true transparency, that's all that I need. Anything else to me is a soapbox. And if you've got that message, you can go preach it to someone else or preach it to the wind because I'm not here for that. Um, you cannot like reselling practices and still have a normal life. I agree with that. I know you're a genuine collector. You're speaking truth, Y2K. Every transaction between a seller and a buyer is different. Yeah, it's all nuanced. There's no like what's the rule, right? So like what's the rule? Like are is there a standard? Like do you are is the standard a minimum when you're buying a game is to offer the person 50%? Like like I don't know. Like if you go to a yard sale and you have $100 in your pocket, right? And someone there has like a full Neo Geo set, like the AES complete in box, you know, with 5 games, like Sengoku 1 through 3, Shock Troopers, you know, and they're like, and you're like, man, I got $100 in my pocket, but I can go to the bank and get you some more. Like if you pull $100 out of your pocket, tell the person, man, I got $100 in my pocket, but I need to go to the bank so I can get you some more money. And they say, no, man, no, forget it. A hundred's more than enough. I'll take it. And you're like, you sure? Because these games are worth a lot. No, you know what, man? 100 is more than enough for me. Give me the 100. You have it, enjoy it with your kids. And you walk away with $10,000 worth of Neo Geo games. Are you the bad guy when you tried to offer them? Like, what's the standard minimum? Somebody tell me. So we need a rule book for this stuff. Because this stuff is just I don't know. It's asinine. Like I'm really trying to make sense of it. And I want to figure it out because I have a feeling that now that I'm on the West Coast, I'm probably gonna run into more deals like this. And I'm just really interested in where this is going. Socrates says, hey, just got a copy of Conker's Bad Fur Day from GameStop for 99. I had credit from Saturn Trade, so I only paid 18. Sweet deal, man. That's freaking sick. I saw a guy, he just got a complete in box copy of Jackie Chan's Stuntmaster for 59.99. I was like, damn, that is a great deal. And bro, you knew. I knew what? I don't know what you're talking about. Smart. B Chung, what up? I don't know, man. B Chung said dusty don't mean shit. If you see corrosion on the metal components, that's the real indicator. How much did you buy the lot for? Only paid 500. Yeah, paid 550 for that. That's a crazy deal of the decade. Yeah, it's the craziest deal I've ever come across. Bro, no. It was mutual. They said to you, this is worth like 5,500. Then you took. No, that's not what happened. What they said to me was that they looked up. So the guy looked up some of the games, and the only game that he referenced to me with a dollar amount was the GoldenEye 007, and he said that he saw one selling for $7,500, which is actually more than what the actual lot was worth. So he went into the negotiation in his mind knowing that GoldenEye, sealed GoldenEye, was worth thousands of dollars. That's what I'm saying. So he had done his homework, whether he just went on eBay and just did a quick search on some of the games, or however he did his research, he knew that there was thousands of dollars worth of value in that box. That's my point, right? So he knew, he was aware, right? And he also knew that those other sealed games in there were valuable. So when we began to negotiate, we weren't negotiating out of good faith. When I say we weren't negotiating out of good faith, what I'm saying is that we weren't negotiating in a situation where I knew the value of the games and they didn't. We both knew the value of the games. That's part one. Part two is they were not the owners of those games. Their assignment was to take those games and put them in the trash, right? So if you want to get mad, go get mad at them, because technically those games should be in the garbage. They decided, you know what? Instead of putting it in the garbage, they looked, they saw that they were worth a couple thousand, and they probably said in their head, well, if they're worth a couple thousand, we have to at least be able to get a couple hundred for it. And they had already decided that they were satisfied with getting a couple hundred. And by couple hundred, I mean literally a couple hundred. Like, they were about to sell those games to GameStop for $250. Like, were they going to be happy about it? No, but they would have settled for whatever GameStop was going to give them. And I saw when that dude scanned one of those games, I forget which one it was. I think it was either Chopper Attack or Wetrix. When he scanned that game in, the 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 counter literally said $1.19. Now, granted, complete in box Chopper Attack I think is like $40, but still $1.19 for a complete in box N64 game. That's what they were looking at, right? So that just answers that question. Yeah, I don't want that life. I do realize the difference between real life and YouTube. Yeah, no, bro, I'm not speaking to you. Like, we're not having a one-on-one conversation here. Like, I'm talking to a live chat. So don't take what I'm saying like directed at you, Gen XXX, whatever. I'm talking to the collective. So don't feel like this isn't like a one-on-one. I just have an image of Eddie Murphy and Beverly Hills Cop 2. I'm making moves, man. I'm making moves. Yeah, bro, I'm on the go. This is California. Like, I'm on the go. It's all good. It's all good, bro. You do you. Yeah, man, listen, I'ma do me, you do you. I tell people all the time on YouTube, bro, you do you. I'ma do me, you do you. The one thing that we can't do is hate each other for just having a different opinion, you know what I'm saying? Or having a different practice. As long as it's, again, as long as you're not cheating, lying, as long as you're negotiating in good faith, as long as everyone has an understanding of what's going on, you're not trying to, shiest little kids and shiest old people. As long as you're not doing that, bro, do you, bro? Like, do you, honestly. I paid 10 a piece for DS Pokemon games back in 2021. The guy set the price. I had no gripes with that. Keep the Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Nice. I think as long as you deal in good faith, you're okay. No rules. It's just right place, right time. But that deal in California is insane. Majority of the time, people want to get rid of stuff. They will get whatever they can get. That is true. What's going on, Skir? Yay, West Coast, Best Coast. A Train, everything is up for negotiation. Buyer and seller can walk away from the deal at any point. There are no standards. I agree. Are we live? Yes, sir. We're live. Only issue I see is when they get to a deal and they gloat about it online and in your face. Crash, what are we talking about? We're just talking about deals. Like, I've never had a deal like that, and I just posted about it. You know what I mean? And the 99% of the comments were supportive, but you always get that like one, like, I don't know, fanatic that's just, I don't know. You're gonna get tons of deals in Cali from what I see online. The cost of living there, finding something cheap is incredible. That's true. Yeah, man, different deals, different for each deal. I paid 2K for a very diverse Switch collection, 119 games. It's like $17 a game. Nice. Crash Zero, are we live? Yes, we're live, Crash. I'm glad you got it. The GameStop. I was the one that found Jackie Chan Stuntmaster CIB at GameStop last month. 59, my best retro find. Nice. That was a sweet pickup, girl bound. I'm like, that is like, I rarely get envious when I see pickups. That Jackie Chan Stuntmaster, I was envious. I was like, shit, I really want that game. Because I've had it in my old collection and like I don't have it anymore. I'm in Louisiana. It's like 2 hours later here. Yeah, I'm about to end it because I know like on the East Coast it's late. I know it's getting to like 10:30. I just wanted to do this real quick. I wonder what GameStop would have listed that 119 game for. Someone probably would have got a steal. They probably would have listed a Chopper Attack for like 9.99. Because I think loose, it's not a very expensive game, and they would have listed it at the loose price. So someone would have got a great deal on a complete inbox N64 game, but it's not like it would have been like, like Mario 64. It would have just been like, a regular game. West Coast typically get good deals. This is where many game developers are located. Why are people here mad? I'm just happy you showed us things that can happen if we're in the right place, right? I don't think most people were mad. I think, like I said, 99.9% of the people were supportive. It's just, you got that like 1% who's just, and shout out to Heck and Steve. Heck and Steve, I've watched Heck and Steve since the pandemic. I'm a huge fan of Heck and Steve. And but I'm also smart enough to know that Heckin' Steve is a character. Heckin' Steve is not like the act Steve and the actual person. Heckin' Steve is a character, but people watch Heckin' Steve and they just watch too much Heck and Steve, and it's like they confuse Heck and Steve with like reality. Like, yes, does he not like resellers? Sure, but Heck and Steve, the character, doesn't like the greediness, the poor practices of resellers. But Heck and Steve knows the difference between the person and the action. And you have these people who like sit at home and like binge Heck and Steve and then go crazy. And it's like, bro, relax. Like, go outside and live real life. Like, go do a deal. I find that half the time, the people who got so much to say about those types of deals have never like even dealt with a reseller. They've never sold to a reseller or bought from a reseller. And all of their feelings are from like secondhand experiences they've seen on YouTube. Bro, go outside. Actually go outside and meet people and do deals and then have your own experiences so that you can form your own opinions instead of just like, I don't know. But again, shout out to my boy Heck and Steve. I'm a huge fan, but like, bro, mix up the content, bro. Like, you gotta like mix up the content. Um, I thought I scored, got stranded deep. CIB for 25 today. Nice. I am not the best YouTuber, Crash. I am not definitely not the best YouTuber. Price for those one of the kind is unknown since many eBay. Yeah, man. But look, this live went a little bit longer than I thought. I just wanted to kind of get on here and explain that. Shout out to Kyra. I don't know if I follow yet, but I need to go follow her. She's actually kind of funny. She's actually kind of funny. Um, but yeah, man. Look, you guys rock out. Y'all have a good night. I just wanted to jump on here and just talk about that real quick. But I'll be dropping a video a little bit later on this week. Until then, you guys enjoy the evening. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.